Good morning, everybody. I should have done that before I hit the button. Hey, how are we doing today? Today, I wish I'd have pulled in that Law and Order SVU sound, that dong, that sound, because today we're going to talk about Law and Order. All my stories are mostly related to law enforcement or something to do with the law. So that's what we're doing today. I hope you enjoy the show. I'll be right back after the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way, but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, PDawg Night. And stop the music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, me, Marty, also known as PDawg Night on the internet. And welcome back to the PDawg Night channel on this lovely Friday, the 17th of July 2020. Yes, 2020 FFS. This is the Law and Order edition of the Morning Night Live. We're going to be talking about some news stories regarding the police, the popo, and those people who oppose the popo, because they oppose the popo because the popo is a ho-ho or something like that. Anyway. I don't know where the hell that came from, but hey, I was thinking though, when I was setting up the show, by the way, as you saw, I do have my lovely cup of reparations coffee, but you can always add to the reparations by hitting that tip jar once in a while today. That's always good. And, the brother needs a dime. But something that we haven't done for a while, and I was thinking about it before I started the show. You know what that is? You know what I haven't done for a while because I wasn't really sure if it would work? Well, you know that Friday is Funky Friday. Yes, it's Funky Friday on the Morning Night Live, and we're going to have a little funk in the background because we want the funk. Gotta have that funk. Ow, we need the funk. Gotta have that funk. Ow. Yes, it is Funky Friday on the Morning Night Live. And before we get started on some stories, I gotta say good morning to some people. In particular, that person who was here first who says, ring that bell, baby. Cynical Lindsay was in the chat first. And, come on, Bell. No. I was all excited about the bell. What the hell happened? Hang on a second. Let's see. Oh, good Lord. Hang on. Give me a second. I am very disappointed in my technology today. This technology has been working so well for so long, and I don't even have a bell. Holy crap. Come on. Come on, computer. Let's get this. Let's fix that one right away. I can't leave Lindsay hanging like that. Hold up. We're not doing anything until the bell rings, baby. Hold on. Let's fix this problem right now, because I am not having it. All right, there's that bell and there. Let's at least let's get the bell for Lindsay, and I'm gonna fix all the other stuff. There you go. All right. Hopefully the other stuff works. You know what? I'm just gonna fix this while I'm here because y'all talk amongst yourself for a minute. Hang on a second. Oh, what'd I do there? Okay, let's do this. So we're going to fix all these just to be safe because I'm not having it. Sorry, folks. This is just I did it again. This is just some technical shit that I got to do because we're going to need some of these sound effects today, and they're very important to the show sometimes. By the way, let's think of a question of the day. Here we go. Now, I know local restaurants are usually everyone's favorites. Everyone prefers a really good local restaurant. However, the phenomenon of the family casual dining chains since probably, I would say it kind of started in 1965 with TGI Fridays. They kind of came up with this concept of, well, actually Friday was kind of a pickup joint when it first came out, but it turned into this family kind of, you know, casual dining chain. In the chat today, we're going to talk about what, and this might be an oxymoron for some of you, but we're going to talk about what is your favorite kind of national casual dining chain of restaurants. Now, I am going to exempt myself from this because I used to work for TGI Fridays, and so I'm a bit biased. I thought that was a fantastic thing, but some of you might like Fridays, some of you might like, I don't know, Applebee's or I don't know. Name your favorite casual dining chain that's kind of a national kind of thing. All right, so there you go. That's the chat question of the day. Not so exciting, but not as exciting as chunky peanut butter or hot sauce. But you know what? It's what I could think of off the top of my head. As I'm almost done fixing my soundboard, and then we'll get started with some Law and Order here. Let's see. I just did J. I did M. Hopefully this all works just fine today. I don't know. What happened is a lot of my stuff got reset during an update, and so it kind of messed me up. And so we'll get the sounds going here. But enjoy the funk while you're waiting. And again, your favorite kind of national casual dining type of chain. It could be anything from Perkins to Cracker Barrel to Applebee's to Chili's to Fuddruckers to I don't even know if Fuddruckers still exist. But you know what I'm saying, right? And let's see, I think I got them all here. Did I do the... All right, last one is my mixed board here, which looks like it's all good. No, it's all good. All right, there we go. All right, looks like I'm back in business. Let's see if my super chat board comes back up. Everything looks to be good. All right, peeps. Where are we at here? Let's say good morning. All right, Cynical Lindsay, who got the bell. There you go. And good morning to Johnny Bonsaco, Rolling Bear City, Rochelle, Selecta Boy.
Yeah, boy.
Also, Mike Savage, Blarg. Good morning, Donatello Slapfellow, John Smith, Patrice Ripley. Hey, I missed you. I hope everything's going well for you and your daughter. And also, I've been mentioning that you're my K-pop aficionado, and I always skip it when you're not here. But if you're here while we get to transcend anything K-pop, you're my official source of information for that kind of stuff. Also, good morning, Black Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
And what the hell was that? It popped up. Good morning to, let's see who else. Oh, Lindsay, you are busy in the chat. Good morning, Rolling Bear. C. Thomas, what's up? Haven't seen you for a while. Glad you're back. And that looks like everybody so far. Waffle House doesn't even have good waffles. You know what though? I tell you what, I do kind of like. I like when I'm in like when we went to New Orleans. That was our, we went to all these great local places, but our last meal, the last time I was in New Orleans, was at a Waffle House, and we had I had the pecan waffles with some eggs and bacon. They were actually pretty good. They weren't bad. So anyway, what else we got here? Tim Hortons. That's to me, that's just a coffee place to be. Denny's got the stuff. Perkins, Outback counts. They're Round Table Pizza. I haven't heard of that. Is that a regional pizza place? Denny's, the fluffiest pancakes. Let's see, Fuddbucker. Applebee's sucks. The Applebee's closest to my house is actually decent. They do a good job. They have a good staff. They make great cocktails, and they do really well with their food. So sometimes certain locations of restaurants aren't the same. Like for example, when I worked for Fridays, I did a tour. What you can do when you work for Fridays long enough, they give you what's called a passport. And what you can do is you can travel for up to 6 months And while you're traveling, you can pick up shifts in any store, any restaurant, wherever you're traveling to. And so I did that for 6 months one time, and traveled from Minnesota all the way out to the West Coast, went up and down the West Coast, went through the southern states, stayed sometimes in Vegas, and different restaurants in the same chain sometimes don't keep the same standards, and it sometimes just depends on who the people who are running the restaurant or what the kind of staff they got, but it just happens. First super chat of the day. Thank you. Now, unfortunately, what is going on here? Do I need to refresh this? What the hell's going on? Let me fix this real quick. My monitor's messed up here, and I can't even read the super chat. It was someone named Dick somebody. I don't know what the full name was. I might have to... all right, here's what I got to do. I'm going to have to... Let's see, does this do this? No, not replay. But how do I need to refresh this, and it's not doing it. Huh. Well, here's what I'll do. I'll open a window that has my super chats over here, because I can't read that right now. Give me 1 second. New tech needed set. I'm telling you, I might upgrade my processor. I don't know if that'll help. I mean, I have a great. My GPU is fantastic. I got a 2660 Super, but my processor is an i5 that my son put in. He was using it for school. He didn't need as much power as you need when you're doing video. So eventually, I don't know why this is doing this. Oh, okay. There's what's happening. What the hell? All right, we're done with that. We'll reset stream labels. We'll click this. Good. Done with that, and let's see if that pops up. Anyway, somebody, Dick Ramdinas. Dick Ramdinas is his last name. Dick Ramdinas with the 556. Perkins for breakfast, Cracker Barrel for dinner. Now, I love Cracker Barrel for breakfast, but I don't know that I don't know if I've ever eaten at a Cracker Barrel for dinner. Isn't that weird? I love Cracker Barrel's pancakes. I think they do, and they're pretty consistent wherever you go. And then they do the big link sausages that are really good. No, it's Rick, not Dick Ramdinas. It's Rick Ramdinas. It's Ramdinas. Am I pronouncing that right, Dick? Dick Ramdinas? Okay. Anyway, PF Chang's, yeah, I like they're good too. They're good. Okay. All right. Let's get into the news, and hopefully someday God, what is going on with this? Maybe if I stretch this, will that change things? Will it fix it? Well, it's not. Anyway, all right, let's get into some news, because did my music stop? Is everything going batty here today? What the hell is going on? Oh, no, it's there. Okay, I just couldn't hear it. All right, so it's Law & Order Day today on the Morning Night Live. We're going to talk about, I got some news stories, basically Law & Order related. And let's get this ad off of here before I switch this over. Cracker Barrel is a weekend lunch spot for me. See, I've never been there for lunch. I've only eaten breakfast at Cracker Barrel. But man, they have some good stuff. So, we were talking about the officers in New York. There was that brawl on the Brooklyn Bridge. Do you remember that from the other day if you were here? Good morning, Kingslayer. How you doing? Mr. Scott, how you doing? Glad you're here. So the police, there was this march on a bridge, and it was kind of a unity march, okay? There were activists. There were some, Black Lives Matter activists. There were some community leaders. There were police, and they're all having this kumbaya march in New York City. Well, some of the not so peaceful protesters of the other variety didn't like that this unity march was going on, and so they came and got into a fight, and they attacked a couple police officers on the bridge with with sticks or bats or some kind of shit, and you saw the pictures of the bloody police guys, right? Well, here's the state of law enforcement in New York City right now. Man accused of punching NYPD chief and cops on Brooklyn Bridge has been released without bail. Yes, the bail system in New York City means they just release people into the streets even if they attack a police officer. Fucking tastic. The Bronx. Hang on a second. I gotta check something. Is this even working? Okay, looks like we're not losing any frames. You guys are there. Okay, we're good. There we go. Oh, and that's working now. Okay, everything's good. All right, let's get back into this story. Sorry, guys. It's really weird. I gotta figure this out someday. Anyway, a Bronx man who allegedly punched NYPD Chief Terrence Monahan and 2 other officers. It wasn't even punched. You saw the video. They were hitting them with they looked almost like broomsticks, or not necessarily nunchucks, but they were like bats. I mean, they smashed. The one guy's bleeding from his head and his face and shit. Anyway, the man allegedly punched NYPD Chief Terrence Monahan and 2 other officers during protests on the Brooklyn Bridge Wednesday has been released without bail. All right, way to go. Okay, this shit ain't working. This is driving me nuts. Anyway, Cochran Campbell. Oh, there we go. Yes, congratulations. Hello, Johnny Hellcat. Cochran Campbell, accused of socking the highest-ranking uniformed cop several times in the face as Monahan tried to arrest him after Campbell had allegedly punched another NYPD officer and lieutenant near the Manhattan approach to the bridge. Campbell was arraigned on assault charges in Manhattan Criminal Court and was granted supervised release. Now, I wonder who the hell's supervising this guy. Anyway, the second Bronx man, Banks Schaburn, 25, was also arraigned Thursday after allegedly clocking the same lieutenant, Richard Mack, of the Department's Strategic Response Group multiple times in the face. The suspects allegedly broke both of Mack's orbital bones, sending him to the hospital for 12 stitches on his face after the melee. Monahan said he suffered some bruises and jammed fingers, but otherwise was fine. Police say they recovered a taser from Schaburne's pocket and a folding knife from his shoe. Schaburne, who faces criminal assault and criminal possession charges, was held on $10,000 bail. Well, at least they held one of them. The bridge brawl broke out Wednesday morning when social justice protesters in Manhattan disrupted a pro-NYPD march as it sailed forth from Brooklyn over the Brooklyn Bridge. So, hey, let's just let him out. Let's just let him out. Hey, Larry, what's up? So anyway, now this is a related story. This is fascinating. As soon as oh God, I'm just gonna have to fix this shit. And we're frozen. Okay, God, this is just annoying as fuck. All right. Oh, so here we go. Now this is a shocker. NYPD chief describes Brooklyn Bridge assault and says morale is as low as it's been in a long time. Really? I can't imagine why. New York Police Department Chief of Department Terrence Monahan joined Your World Thursday for his first interview since he and a group of officers were attacked while making an arrest on the Brooklyn Bridge a day earlier. I'm feeling fine, I've got a few bruises here and there. Luckily, the fingers weren't broken, just jammed a bit. So I'm doing okay, Monahan told host Neil Cavuto. I'm doing a lot better than my sergeant and the lieutenant that was attacked. New York Post reported Thursday that a woman had been arrested in a connection with the attack that injured 3 officers. So he went down to make an arrest. As we were arresting him, he grabbed on to a railing by the walkway and the struggle begins. The fighting starts, Moynihan said. That's when the individual comes up with a cane. Oh, it was a cane, and hits my lieutenant on the head and cuts him open. hits my sergeant on the head, causing him to get 8 staples in his head. We were able to remove that individual away from the walkway. As I went back to identify the person who hit him with the cane, our bike patrol was coming. Monahan went on. The person who hit him with the cane was also able to jump over into opposing traffic and get away, but another individual took a mop handle and charged our guys on the bike, knocking them down. He ends up on top of one of our lieutenants from the bike unit and literally went to town on him. Started beating the heck out of him with rights and lefts, full swings to the face. That's, I think that was one of the officers there. It was at that point, myself and my lieutenant, who was already bleeding from his head, reached over to pull him off. The chief concluded punches are getting thrown. He breaks free from them. He gets into a boxing stance and keeps going. That's when I reach over. I grab him. I was able to pull him back up towards the fence. He turns on me, throws a couple punches in my direction. We are able to grab him, cuff him, and he was arrested for assaulting the officer. The bike lieutenant ended up breaking an orbital bone. This is the Monahan admitted that officers are dealing with a particularly high level of animosity, not just from protesters, but ordinary members of the public. On street corners, there's a feeling that they don't have to listen to the police and that they're willing to fight with the police officers, he said. Monahan later added that the level of morale among officers is as low as it's been in a long time. Well, I can imagine. I'm pretty sure that you're not getting a lot of support from, who's that guy? The dude, the guys who, they're in charge of the city. Those, what's that? He's a title. He has a title. It's, the mayor. Mayor Bill de Blasio. He's not real supportive of his police officers, is he? He wants to take $1 billion out of their budget, which may or may not be appropriate, depending on if they have a bloated budget or not. You never know, but I just don't think de Blasio is kind of, what's that called? Supportive. Yeah, that's the word. Anyway, let's see. He added, it's important that we as an agency tell them how much we appreciate them, how much we know they're out there, the trouble that they're dealing with on the street. But more importantly, the silent majority that's out there, the community that is out there that supports our police officers, that know the job they do. They know the times they ran into a burning building to save a life. They know the times they saved a life of a choking baby, of a cardiac victim, how often they've run into gunfire to save people. These are the men and women that you're hearing others put down on a regular basis. So, anyway, that's, what the hell was that? Oh, that's just some fingers and some, okay. All right, so moving on in the Law and Order theme, I'm gonna try to pop up here every once in a while just to make sure that when I click some of these clicky things, they click off and on like they're supposed to. Like this one didn't click off like it was supposed to. But anyway, this would be JC Wolf, how you doing? Amy in Connecticut, good morning. Renee Mayette, howdy. And I think I'm caught up here. By the way, let's do the shill right now. The Morning Night Live is brought to you by you, the viewers of the Morning Night Live. And the thing you can do to help the most is share the streams, share the videos. In fact, I posted a video yesterday. I cut part of my video when I was talking about Chris Cuomo from the stream yesterday. I cut that part out and I added a few enhancements. If you haven't watched that video yet, you can watch that after the show. But share that video because it's shorter. It'll give people an idea of what we do on this show. And if they like that, then maybe they'll come and join us and we'll have more fun in the chat because there's always, the more the merrier, right? The more the merrier. Anyway, also you can help us out by hitting the like button whenever you decide that you like what we do here. Just click that little thumbs up thing and, that's a simple one. And then finally, if you want to do super chats like Dick Ramdinas did. That's such a weird last name, Dick. Ramdinas. Dick Ramdinas. Anyway, if you want to be a permanent part of the show, you can throw a super chat through the link in the description down below or at PDawgnight.live. It's right there. You can see it. Or it'll show up in the chat. This show is sponsored by viewers like you. Support the show with your donations and have your super chats read live on the show. You will be a permanent part of this episode of the Morning Night Live. So anyway, thank you all for being here. If you're looking in the background, how you doing? And also, if you're watching this on replay, leave a comment in the comment section so that I know you're here. So there you go. So the more Law and Order. Now this is an interesting article. This is more of a opinion piece. It's the second of a two-part series on how systemic police racism fuels the war on cops. Shall we read part 1 first? Well, no, let's just check part 2 for now. So, this is called The Myth of Systemic Police Racism is Leading to Targeted Attack Against Cops, which I just found this interesting. Recent looting, arson, and targeted violence against police wasn't about police reform, and the assassination of police officers wasn't about mourning or respecting George Floyd. So, what's really going on? Now, I know there is sometimes this is me doing an aside, there's sometimes justified anger at the police, but I don't think it's all of them. But anyway, a quick look at two radical movements behind George Floyd's protest. Antifa, as I like to say, Antifa, and Black Lives Matter provide some insight. It is difficult to pin down an official party line with these amorphous groups, but there are similarities. The Black Lives Matter organization has called for national defunding of police and dismantling the nuclear family, which I don't think is going to help Black lives, but whatever. The Movement for Black Lives calls for a Marxist-inspired agenda, which includes defunding police, eliminating prisons, ending all immigration enforcement, and paying slavery reparations. Antifa is even less centralized, but its adherents' penchant for destruction, violence, riots, and vandalism, inspired by the supposed racialized capitalism of the United States, is well documented. A common thread uniting these movements is the belief that the United States as a country is illegitimate, inherently racist, and irredeemable. They view the police as racist defenders of this evil order. You know what's always fascinating about this? So one of the rationale for getting rid of at least the Confederate monuments and the Confederate flag, right, is that those people who fly that, they're glorifying the people who committed treason. They're glorifying the losers of that war, right? So you shouldn't have any of those symbols. You shouldn't have any of that, right? They lost. You shouldn't be glorifying any of it, which it makes sense from a person who's, believes that the right side lost in that war. But I always find it fascinating whenever they say, well, that this country is illegitimate, that it's on stolen land and all that kind of thing, because as brutal as it's been, I'm not saying that everything was done right, but didn't those people lose too? You know what I'm saying? But I obviously all nations around the world, all pieces of land that are controlled by any certain group around the entire world has been acquired through some fucked up things. I mean, it's never been pretty in history, and all we can do now is try to make sure that everyone who is here now is not so much taken care of, but at least has an opportunity to live free without any more injustice. That's where we need to go now. Anyway, continuing. This destructive pathology is a theme being echoed by many media and left-wing elites. In doing so, they fan the dangerous flames of racial hatred and violence while they downplay theft, arson, mob violence, and the killing of innocent citizens and the assassination of police officers. No damage and vandalism that rioters have inflicted reveal their true motives and hatred for America. In Boston, a monument was desecrated honoring the 54th Massachusetts, the first black volunteer regiment in the Union Army that fought in the Civil War, which, of course, ended slavery. In Washington, D.C., the Lincoln Memorial and the World War II monument dedicated to Americans who died fighting the real fascists of Germany, Italy, and Japan were defaced. During a recent anarchy, a disturbing trend became clear. Much mainstream media supported the defund the police agenda while rationalizing mob violence. They appear to be in total collusion with the far left. As historian and columnist Victor David Hanson observed, there's a narrative where the media has joined Antifa and Black Lives Matter in forging the agenda that the United States was at the beginning, in continuation, in its present, and in the future, a racist country that can only be remedied by violence that draws attention to the need for radical redistribution and reparations. This is exactly what we're seeing. The media is pivoting from the fake charge that the police are systemically racist to the position that all white people are racist, making an assertion, well, wait a minute, even the white protesters who are showing their virtue. Good morning, Advocatus Diaboli. How you doing? How you doing there? And Big Assassin 80, what's up? And Check Your Logic, howdy. Making an assertion designed to turn black and white Americans against each other, CNN anchor, worst journalist of the year, Don Lemon, worst journalist of the year, asked, if you grew up in America, you came out of American soil. Considering the history of this country, how could you not be racist? How could you not have racial blind spots? How can you not see that the factory reset in America is whiteness? This is pure projection, because making a value judgment on people based on their skin color is part of the very essence of racism. It is the antithesis of the example, beliefs, and teachings of Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., who dreamed for a future where Americans would judge one another not by the color of their skin, but the content of their character. The myth that black people are being hunted by the police is doubly tragic because it deflects attention away from the real issues of deadly violence facing black citizens. For people who believe black lives really matter, two questions should be asked. First, who is really killing most black people? This is a question I ask quite often. Good morning, Adam Richard. And second, who are the people really saving black lives? You know, I said this the other day because that stupid little video of the girls singing that black neighborhoods are over police, so of course they have more rates of crime. No. Black neighborhoods have 911 called the most, and that's where they allocate the resources of police. This is not even a chicken and an egg. Okay? Resources go where the crimes happen, where the people call for the police. That's why there's more police in some areas than others. You know, in my little suburb, I don't think I've ever had to call the police for anything. The only 911 call that I can remember is when actually, it was in another town, but when my father-in-law was sick, we called 911. But police are called more in many certain neighborhoods, and that's why those neighborhoods have more police. Duh. Anyway, it is a fact that black Americans, particularly young black men, are being killed in American cities at an alarming rate. Not because of the police. In 2018, police shot and killed 990 people, 228 of whom were black. That same year, there were 14,123 homicides in the United States. The number of black victims was 7,407, of which 93% were killed by other black people. That's more than half of all homicides. More than half, and I've talked about this one all the time. More than half of all homicide victims are black. A vast majority black men. But it's the police. Remember, in those 990 people who were killed by the police, 228 of them were black. A vast majority of them were justified. We're not talking unarmed. Most of them were people shooting at police or about to hurt someone else. This is the real epidemic confronting the black community, but there's no outrage from the mob or the media for police-hating professional activists. Black Lives Matter, they just changed the name to Some Black Lives Matter. Not all. You know, it's funny because whenever someone says all lives matter, and, well, they say, well, we're talking about black lives. Oh, really? Yes, black lives, all lives won't matter until black lives matter. Well, because really you're talking about some black lives matter because you're only talking about that tiny sliver of those who were killed by police. And I say, and the public sees this, it's in our face every day when you watch the news. And I would have to say that, well, black lives will matter when all black lives matter, not just some. In fact, I don't even know why they call the organization Black Lives Matter. It should be either some Black Lives Matter or certain Black Lives Matter, or it should be specifically about police violence because that's really the only... The dog, man bites dog, Black Lives Matter, violence, killing, whatever you want to call it. But, and so, you want, when you say Black Lives Matter, well, you only mean these black lives. Because certainly the 7 officers who've been killed that were black over the last few months, those black lives don't seem to matter to you. Or the dozens of children who've been murdered over the last few months, those black lives don't seem to matter, at least to your organization. They certainly matter in those communities, but certainly those are not the ones getting the national attention. George Floyd and Breonna Taylor got national attention. And that's why, and guess what? The reason you can remember their names is because those are very rare. You remember what is rare. It's kind of hard to remember 7,407 other names. Right? I'm going to read this again. This is the real epidemic confronting the black community, but there's no outrage from the mob or the media. For police-hating professional activists, Black Lives Matter, certain black lives, some black lives, only when they are killed by police. This hypocrisy was on full display during the recent murder of a black teenager in Seattle's autonomous zone and the continued carnage in Chicago's black community. There was no outrage or protest or response to the cold-blooded shooting of Lorenzo Anderson in Seattle, and zero concern that a violent mob of chopped comrades prevented police and medics from reaching and saving Lorenzo as he bled to death. The mob and the media's silence was equally deafening after the Father's Day weekend bloodbath in Chicago's black community. More than 100 were shot, with 15 dead, including 4 black children, one of them 3 years old, Mekhi James. The deadly Chicago weekend was not an outlier. The slaughter has continued over the last 2 weeks, with more than 150 people shot and 40 dead, almost all in the black community. Among those killed since late June have been 10 children under the age of 18, including 7-year-old Natalia Wallace and 1-year-old Sincere Gaston. The left-wing media hasn't dwelt on their murders, and Black Lives Matter hasn't protested either. Oh, yeah, Lindsay, you're right. They haven't even got of the white guys, too, that have been murdered. But, yeah, it's not like police violence doesn't exist. It exists, and we need to fix that, but damn. Some Black Lives Matter. Why are there so many black people being killed in America's cities? It is an unfortunate but seldom acknowledged fact that black Americans as a group, particularly young black men, statistically commit violent crime at a rate much higher than their representation in the population. This is especially true in large urban areas. According to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, despite the black population being... this stat, I get so tired of hearing it because it just hurts my heart to hear it, but despite the black population of the United States being less than 13%, black offenders committed 52% of all homicides. And I'm going to say, no, not even that. Because I would say it's a tiny percentage of that 13%. Half a percent of that 13% is the ones committing 52% of all homicides between 1980 and 2008. This higher crime rate also results in more contact with police. Yes. In his book, Taboo, 10 Facts You Can't Talk About, Kentucky State University professor Wilfred Riley, who is a black man, even though his name's Wilfred Riley, observes that a black crime rate, which is 2.5 times higher, which is 2.5 times the white crime rate and rises to 10 times the white crime rate in many major cities, obviously explains most or all black-white disparities in terms of unpleasant encounters with police. So, the answer to the first question is that most black people killed in the United States are being killed by other black people. And that's not unusual. That's the same with white people, right? But not at nearly the rate, particularly by young black men. But as to our second question, who is saving the lives of black people and preventing these outrageous numbers from being even higher? The answer is simple. It is the police. Yes, and that is it, but it's not that simple. There are efforts, community efforts, to lessen violence in communities. I don't know if they're supported enough, and they're certainly not supported by some Black Lives Matter, the organization. I'm never going to call them Black Lives Matter again. The organization is some Black Lives Matter. The sentiment is Black Lives Matter, but that organization is some Black Lives Matter. Violent crime offender rates in Chicago are similar to most big cities, showing significant overrepresentation of both black victims and perpetrators of violent crime relative to population. The Chicago Police Department's murder analysis report of 2011 showed that black Americans accounted for 75% of homicide victims and 71% of homicide offenders, while composing only 29% of the city's population. Most of the city's violent crime and homicides of black Chicagoans occurs in predominantly black neighborhoods. However, during the period from 1991 to 2011, murders were reduced by 54% from a high of 943 in 1992, and that was a bad year in a lot of major cities. That was the Murderapolis times in Minneapolis. From 943 in 1992 to 433, so dropped by over 500 in 2011. Chicago Police Department manpower and resources were targeted at areas of gun violence. Officers arrested shooters who were prosecuted, convicted, and sent to prison. Thousands of illegal firearms were taken off the streets each year, and police were strategic and proactive, maintaining high visibility to further deter violent crime. These tactics and results were applied and replicated in other big cities. In New York City, the reduction in murder and other violent crime was even more dramatic. This unprecedented violent crime reduction in Chicago, New York, and other big cities across the country likely resulted in tens of thousands of black lives saved by police. Now there, Black Lives Matter. My 24-year career in the Chicago Police Department spanned this period. I served as a patrolman, gang team officer, sergeant, and tactical unit lieutenant in high-crime neighborhoods. How did ordinary, law-abiding black residents view the police? Two examples are instructive. In the South Chicago District, I organized and led CPD's first district-wide bike patrol unit. On our first day of operations, we wanted to make an impression, so I led our 8-member team to ride as a group through the most violent, gang-infested beat in the district. Honestly, we didn't know what to expect. But as soon as we turned the corner at 80th and Marquette and pedaled down that street, an amazing thing happened. About 6 or 7 black women, mothers and grandmothers, came out on their porches and front steps to cheer, applaud, and bless us. As a community policing sergeant and lieutenant, I chaired almost 100 community and problem-solving beat meetings in mostly all-black neighborhoods. I worked closely with residents, regular people who had to live every day with the intimidation, gang violence, disorder, and fear that neighborhood crime generates. Contrary to the elites and professional anti-police activists who advocate distrust and hatred of the police, the black residents who actually live in these neighborhoods wanted nothing more than safety and a decent quality of life for their families. Had only 2 complaints about the police. First, that there weren't enough of us. They wanted more. And second, they wanted to know why couldn't CPD just knock the thugs and hoodlums off the street corners? Tragically, violence, shootings, and homicides are now back on the rise. The media's anti-police propaganda war, combined with a lack of support from some department administrations and city governments, has resulted in what Heather McDonald identified as the Ferguson effect. Because of the hatred that has been deliberately engineered, police officers across the country are understandably backing away from the type of proactive policing that is required to effectively deter violent crime. The result is that violent crime is back up, and so are the numbers of black homicide victims. I'm going to end there. I'll put the rest of this article. I'll put the whole article in the chat if you want to read it. It's pretty much echoes a lot of the things that I already say. And it's unfortunate. Yes, BG, there's a reason I call the early 90s the battle time. The early 90s, man, at least where I live in Minneapolis, I lived in Minneapolis at the time. I don't live in Minneapolis now. I live in a suburb of the Twin Cities. But the nickname was Murderapolis. Record numbers of murders over like a 3-year span. And, really, if you think about it, murder's still a pretty rare crime. But when you compare the murders to to any police action that takes a life, it doesn't even compare. Not even close. And a vast majority of police actions, at least as far as deaths go, are justified. But it is. All right. We're gonna move on here. How's everybody doing out there? Is everyone good? We're gonna keep going. It's our normal stream today. Let's see if my computer looks like my computer's actually working again. So apparently, that Portland was starting to set up an autonomous zone, kind of like Seattle did. And the question is, Portland seems to have taken some action against it. Anyway, did Trump shame Portland's mayor into putting down the autonomous zone? Sure looks that way. On Tuesday night, Antifa and Black Lives Matter rioters and anarchists. Now, you know what? I'm gonna stop for a second there. I think he made a mistake here. Who is this? Tyler? Is this Tyler? Yeah, it is Tyler O'Neill. In Portland, it's not so much Black Lives Matter people. It's just the anarchists, Antifa, and the same old crew of anarchists that have been around in Portland for many, many years, attempted to seize property in Portland the same way agitators seized property in Seattle, setting up a Capitol Hill autonomous zone or occupied protest or whatever. As PJ Media's Jeff Reynolds reported, the Portland anarchists called the area the Chinook Land Autonomous Territory, CLAT, since the land was allegedly stolen from the Native Americans. While Chaz Chop endured for weeks, CLAT barely lasted 36 hours. Now, why is that? Well, at first it seems the prospect for an autonomous zone might be rosier in Portland than it was in Seattle. After all, Antifa rioters have terrorized the streets of Portland with relative impunity for years. As Acting Secretary of Homeland Security Chad Wolf puts it, the city of Portland has been under siege for 47 straight days by a violent mob while local political leaders refuse to restore order to protect their city. Each night, lawless anarchists destroy and desecrate the property, including a federal courthouse, and attack the brave law enforcement officers protecting it. Antifa, the clap. Antifa rioters broke windows, covered the Justice Center courthouse with profane graffiti, burned the elk statue, shot off fireworks and incendiary devices at the federal courthouse, and set up an autonomous zone. Some rioters have carried firearms, including the driver of a vehicle who attempted to hit a police officer with his car. I'm not going to show you Andy No's video. It's just them. Anyway, yet in the wee hours of Thursday morning, now I didn't know that they did this. I didn't hear this news yesterday, but apparently in the wee hours of Thursday morning, police cleared out Chapman Square Park and Lonsdale Square Park, where Antifa had set up the CLAT. That's hard to say without laughing. Just they should have called it the what does CLAT stand for? CLAT stands for Chinook Land Autonomous Territory. I think they should have called it the Chinook Land Indigenous Territory. The Chinook Land Indigenous Territory. Okay, anyway, police reported closing down the parks at 5:10 a.m., arresting 9 individuals for trespass and disorderly conduct. Oh, wow, no. We have a new top donor of the day. Well, no, that would be the top donor. Oh, that's the top donor that is not the donor before that was $5.56. But thank you, Kingslayer Damocles, for the $2. Every time a police officer detains someone, they should be required to fill out a form. If determined there wasn't enough RAS to detain, it should be a felon kidnapping charge. No. What, I guess you'd have to decide what detain means. If you get stopped for a speeding ticket, is that being detained? Now they do have to fill out a form when they do actually detain somebody. I guess I'm not understanding that. Help me out. You don't have to put it. You don't have to do it in the super chat. Just help me out. Help me understand what you're saying here. Okay. All right. At about 5:10, Portland police walked through the parks to be sure everyone received the message. The parks were closed and moved people out of the parks to the north. Police reported that the parks will remain closed until needed repairs are made, and the parks are ready to reopen for all to enjoy. The police bureau will assist other city bureaus to facilitate park closure and repair lawns and bathrooms and benches in public art. Yeah, they destroyed the bathrooms in one of these places. The public toilets, they smashed all the toilets. Yeah, I don't get it. Anyway, police released pictures of the devastation Antifa rioters caused. And here's some of the pictures via Andy. No. Chinook unilaterally nullified territory salvation. Oh, goodness gracious. So, yeah, here's some of the stuff that they damaged. It's funny because they're still making this about Trump. I don't get it. You know, like when Bill de Blasio was trolling Trump with the stupid ass, the Black Lives Matter in front of Trump Tower. First of all, Donald Trump doesn't spend any time whatsoever at Trump Tower right now. He spends all his time either in Washington, D.C. or Florida. So here's some of the shit that the Antifa either broke or left as garbage. See, they destroyed that bathroom. And there we go. Chop Embassy, whatever. It's a bunch of LARPing buttholes. Portland police were right to clear out the autonomous zone where anarchists seized public property. They deprived taxpayers of their rightful access to it. Following the weeks of Antifa occupation in Seattle, 16 residents and businesses sued the city of Seattle, alleging that the city failed to protect their rights by not taking action to restore law and order in the CHOP area. Yet, Mayor Ted Wheeler, America's worst mayor, did not seem the type to put down a lawless occupation. When President Donald Trump sent federal troops to help restore order in Portland, Wheeler accused him of having escalated violence, which we watched those tweets the other day. Oh, shit. He's an idiot. So, and then what happened? Okay, I'm going to skip a bunch of this. What's happening now is they moved their so-called occupation to the what's it called? There's a courthouse square right in the middle of downtown Portland, and they all started setting up tents there. I'm just curious if they've done anything to clear that out now. Anyway, given the weeks of nonstop violence in Portland, this attitude is disgusting. Let's see. Yeah, Ted Wheeler. Oh, what an idiot. His response is that the federal government is the one that's instigating all the violence. No, Mr. Wheeler. You've had violence in your city for not just these few months, but for the last 5 or 6 years. What makes it any different now that, the federal agents protected the federal courthouse and the federal building in downtown Portland? Anyway, I'm not going to read any more of this one either. If you want to see that, I'll put that one in the chat too. Pop it in right there. All right, so if you want to see that one, let's move on. Let's get rid of Andy. No, how much time do I have? Is it already? Okay, almost. It's almost time. I got to time for a couple more. Let's close a couple windows here and get rid of Andy. No. Speaking of Portland, I don't know if you've seen this one, but there's an irony that's happening in Portland in particular. There's a big irony, especially in these little clashes that the Antifa are having with police. See, in Portland, it's the interesting part is there's a lot of black police officers in Portland. In fact, they kind of make up a majority of the officers who are dealing with these idiots, right? And there was this really good video of this police officer talking about the irony of some of the things that happened in these areas. This was a powerful video by a man named Officer Jakari Jackson of the Portland Police Department. What he had to say was powerful and exposes the racism that the Antifa during the riots in the city. As Jackson describes what has been happening in the city, you can hear the frustration in his voice. Let's just watch the video. What's it like to be a black officer policing Portland protests? Here's the raw interview. How long is it? Oh, no. We're not doing 27 minutes. Hang on. Let's just do the irony part. I'll have to pause here. Hang on. Let's just do the short version.
it says something when you're at a Black Lives Matter protest. You have more minorities on the police side than you have in a violent crowd. And you have white people screaming at black officers. You have the biggest nose I've ever seen.
What was it like in that capacity in the first few weeks when the fence was up around the Justice Center?
I got to see folks that really do want change, like the rest of us, that have been impacted by racism. And then I got to see those people get faded out by people that have no idea what racism is all about, never experienced racism, that don't even know that the tactics that they are using are the same tactics that were used against my people. And they don't even know they don't even know the history. They don't know what they're saying. Coming from someone who graduated from PSU with a history degree, it's actually frightening. You know, they say if you don't know your history, you repeat it, and watching people do that to other people. A lot of times, someone of color, black, Hispanic, Asian, come up to the fence and directly want to talk to me. Hey, what do you think about George Floyd? What do you think about what happened about this? I go up to the fence, someone white comes up, F the police, don't talk to him. That was the most bizarre thing because I could see it coming. I even had a young African-American girl tell me, why is it you guys aren't talking to us? I said, honestly, this is now the 23rd day of doing it. Every time I try to have a conversation with someone that looks like me, someone white comes up and blocks them and tells them not to talk. And then right when I said that, this white girl popped right in front of her and she said, he just said that was going to happen. I said, straight up. I said, I've been called the N-word. She's been called the N-word. Why are you talking to me this way? Why do you feel that she can't speak for herself to me? Why is it that you feel you need to speak for her when we're having a conversation? But then when you go to a gentrified community, and one of the first pictures I saw, one of the business that was looted was a black-owned business. I'm like, they're not even from here. They don't even know what they're even doing.
Yeah, so the irony there is thick. It'd be thick. So anyway, let's see. Let me do this one because now let's talk about this one's gonna kind of blow your mind a little bit, and I just I find humor in it. So Bill de Blasio, everyone's favorite mayor in the United States, America's mayor, Bill de Blasio, thinks that fewer people in our jails at any time since World War II, and we are safer for it and better for it. That's an interesting take. Maybe there's less crime, that's why there's fewer people in jail, but here we go. As gun violence and murders continue to spike in New York City, Democratic Mayor Bill de Blasio declared Wednesday that his city is safe and better because the number of criminals in jail is at the lowest level since 1946. Now, perhaps Mayor de Blasio doesn't understand causation and correlation. Clearly, because murders are really, really spiking in New York City. Anyway, de Blasio made the claim at a signing ceremony for 6 new police reform bills. Oh, great. There was some police reform in New York. People said if we reduced incarceration and ended an era of mass incarceration, we would be endangered. It was the other way. Wait a minute. It was the other way around, my friends. We now have fewer people in our jails than any time since World War II, and we are safer and better for it. Then who's killing all these people? Like some of these people that they let out of Rikers and out of these jails in New York, about 40% of them have already been rearrested. Did you know that? For committing crimes? Oh my gosh. But as CNSnews.com has reported, The number of murders, shootings, and burglaries in New York City all jumped in June. Oh, wow. There's a lot of people, criminals were let out of jail because of COVID scare, and then we had the riots and the protests. The protests and riots are different things, but you know what I mean? And then, there's a jump in crime. Shocker. Hello, MC.
Hammer time.
I didn't even see you come in. Hi, Katie the Skate. What's up? All right. According to the NYPD, there's been a 130% increase in the number of shooting incidents across New York City between June 1st and June 30th. Compared to the same time last year, the number of people murdered increased 30%, and the number of burglaries rose 118%. That's, for those of you not doing math out there, more than doubled of all those things. Well, whatever. The number of auto thefts rose 51%. Last weekend, 35 people were shot in the city, up from just 5 a year earlier. 35 people were shot as a result of those shootings, which took place between Friday and Sunday. Between Friday and Sunday, 35 people were shot, a sharp rise over the same period last year when only 5 shootings with 6 victims were reported. The weekend shooting left a 1-year-old baby boy dead. The only homicide, the child was shot during a cookout. And then we have New York Mayor Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who advocates defunding the police even after a $1 million budget cut. Acknowledges that the city has experienced a slight rise in crime, but she attributes it to shoplifters stealing bread. De Blasio made this claim, and that fewer incarcerations make for safer citizens in the following comments as he listed past police. De Blasio made his claim that fewer incarcerations make it for safer citizens in the following comments as he listed past police reform measures. Correlation and causation, Mr. Mayor. I'm not even going to read his fucketry. All right, I'm going to keep going on articles for a second because Twitter Trends is just going to be a quick thing. Apparently, the 3 sexual assaults after the Minnesota neighborhood rejects the police. We knew this one. A bunch of white liberals in Minneapolis, Minnesota neighborhood vowed to stop calling the police, and now there have been 3 sexual assaults. Last month, the left-wing activists who inhabit Powderhorn Park, a neighborhood not far from where George Floyd died while in custody of Minneapolis police, decided it was time to stop calling the police over property crimes, even after being carjacked by armed thugs. If you recall, the result was an immediate disaster. Within days, the local park was flooded with homeless people, some 300 of them, who turned what had been a nice place for kids to play or walk your dogs into an encampment where no one felt safe any longer to let their kids play or walk their dog. I'm not being judged. Oh, wait a minute. Time for a dramatic reading. I'm not being judgmental, one woman told the far-left New York Times back in June, but she no longer allows her young children to play in the park. It's not personal. It's just not safe. Maybe you should have the park cleaned out. One Powderhorn resident was anguished over his panic call to the police after being carjacked and vowed to never do it again. Been thinking more about it, he told the Times. I regret calling the police. It was my instinct, but I wish it hadn't been. I put those boys in danger of death by calling the cops. You mean the boys who stole your car or tried to steal your car at gunpoint? Putting yourself in danger of death? A number of residents, for obvious reasons, said they no longer felt safe, not even in their own homes. Nevertheless, they vowed to reject involving the police. Aww. Instead, they would call social workers, such as the one who didn't answer when one Powderhorn resident found a former mental patient on his apartment elevator. Well, that was June, and 3 weeks have passed since, and June is now looking like the good old days in good old Powderhorn Park. The homeless encampment has grown from 300 to nearly 600. There have been 3 sexual assaults, one on June 26th, just 2 days after the Times ran celebrating these anti-cop residents, and 2 more on June 28th and July 5th. On top of this filthy encampment, what had been a nice family park now has 24 portable toilets, 50 trash containers, 3 hand washing stations. Oh, I used to live, let's see. I think I used to live like 4 blocks from Powderhorn Park when I was in my younger days. Holy shit. Anyway, Yahoo reported the park board has also boosted maintenance staffing to support cleaning and assistance for food shelf services, and at an additional cost of $15,700 per week. Now, I guess I don't have a problem if all those people are going to be there, they, try to make it safe or livable, but it's just virtue. Even the far left Minnesota Star Tribune has been forced to describe the situation as a powder keg where crime is escalating and good people are fleeing from the Star Tribune. One multi-unit property owner whose building is within 100 feet of the encampment is frustrated by what he sees as good intentions toward the homeless that have opened the door to increase crime and risk of public health. Susan Beaver said some of her tenants have had their cars broken into and their homes' windows tampered with. To name a few incidents, our residents are moving out. Yes, tax-paying residents are moving out of Minneapolis because there is no one protecting their rights to a safe neighborhood. Hey, somebody actually figured it out. Good for her. That didn't work. Try that again. God. This is why the anti-police madness can and will never last. Once you remove the police, criminals immediately take advantage and life becomes intolerable. People can get used to pretty much anything, and human beings are amazing that way, but one thing we can never live with is no peace of mind. The place where you feel safe and comfortable, the place where we can exhale and relax. And what about the property values? Oh, I don't even think he wants to go there. Although it's weird, I just saw an article today that even during the pandemic and this down times, housing sales in the Twin Cities are pretty strong. Of course, could it be the people who are trying to sell their house to get away? Want to get away? I don't know. Anyway. All right, let's see. Oh, now a couple just quick snippets. A BLM organizer faces child porn charges. Yeah. Oh, well done. So this is why they want to fund the police. A BLM organizer, Christopher DeVries, a leader of the Black Lives Matter defund the police protest he called Skate Away the Hate, has been arrested on 6 counts of possession of child sex abuse images. Good. I hope they have a bail system in wherever this is. DeVries, who lives in Jackson, New Hampshire, worked at the Municipal Budget Committee for the town of Conway, New Hampshire. Not only is he being charged with child abuse charges, but he's also in trouble for falsifying physical evidence after he threw his cell phone on the porch when police arrived at his home. The child abuse images showed underage girls in lewd exhibition of private parts and taking part in sexual activity. DeVries was also found to be in possession of psilocybin mushrooms. Oh, magic mushrooms, which is a Class B felony, which carries up to a 7-year prison sentence. Well, I would think the child porn charges would have a much longer sentence than that, but hey, you never know. The Skate Away Hate protest involved protesters riding bikes and skateboards down Route 16 in New Hampshire. From a loudspeaker, DeVries would yell demands he claims were conveyed to him by the local Black Lives Matter chapter. If we divest funds from the police and prison systems, we all benefit, said DeVries. Oh, go fuck off. Anyway, good. He's been charged. He got caught, whatever. Another quick snippet. Devin Nunes says Barr must bring charges in the Russia Hoax investigation, even if right before the elections. In an interview Wednesday with Fox News, Lou Dobbs, Representative David Nunes of California, stated that the timing of the upcoming election should play no role whatsoever, I added the whatsoever, in whether charges are brought forth in the ongoing criminal investigation into the origins of the Russian hoax. And such charges could be brought even immediately prior to elections. Nunes expressed concerns that if U.S. Attorney John Durham were to avoid bringing forth the results of his investigations prior to the elections and presumptive Democratic nominee Joe Biden somehow pulled off a victory, Durham's investigation would be buried, resulting in total corruption of government institutions and a level of chaos that we have not seen. All right, so then there's the Dobbs interview. If you want to watch the interview or read the interview, it is in the chat right now. All right, last couple quick ones. Oh no, this is not a quick one, so we're going to skip it. Let's go to Twitter trends and finish out the day. Hope you're all, by the way, if you haven't hit that like button yet, please slam that like button. You can do a kick flip and kick your wheel right into the like button, since we're talking about skating. Also, super chat links are in the chat, the super chat links are in the chat. And in the description down below. On the Explore tab on Twitter today, the front page when you click it, Princess Beatrice marries fiance in a private ceremony, Buckingham Palace confirms. Oh my God. In the middle of a pandemic? Are you kidding me, Chris Cuomo? You'll have to see yesterday's show if you don't know what I'm talking about there. In fact, also, I'm gonna put yesterday's video in the chat. Let's do that. Let's see here. Let me do some super stuff here. We're gonna share my video. If you want to watch you know where my channel is. Go to my channel and watch my video from yesterday, which is really just an enhanced version of my rant from yesterday. We'll skip that. All right, let's do this. Okay, back to Twitter. So, Princess Beatrice marries her fiance in a private ceremony at Buckingham Palace during a pandemic. Are you kidding me? Oh, sorry. Never mind. Let's see. Oh, I don't know if this is trending, but President Trump is accused of deploying secret police in Portland. I don't know if you've heard about this one yet. They're claiming that they're kidnapping some of the Antifa political leaders in Oregon have accused President Donald Trump of interfering in Portland's handling of widespread protests and riots in the wake of George Floyd's death as a political stunt to rally his base ahead of the November election. Yeah, I'm sure he did that. Despite repeated calls from Oregon Governor Kate Brown and Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler for federal authorities to remove their officers from the city's streets. Oh, you mean the federal officers that are protecting a federal courthouse and a federal building that you told them to mind your own business and clean up the graffiti on your buildings, as if they put it there? The Trump administration has remained adamant on the maintaining a law enforcement presence in Portland. In an interview with Fox News host Sean Hannity Thursday, Homeland Security Acting Secretary Chad Wolf acknowledged that local and state officials wanted federal authorities to pack up and go home. Never mind. A recent incident of protester getting shot in the head with an impact munition, as well as videos of unidentifiable federal agents in tactical gear arresting protesters on the streets and forcing them into unmarked vehicles, have raised alarm, however, about federal law enforcement's tactics. The U.S. Marshal Service is investigating the incident that saw Donovan LaBella, 26, shot in the head and left seriously injured, but local and state officials as well as Congress members have blamed blamed federal authorities and Trump for the incident. This is when they were trying to burn down one of the federal buildings, although they're idiots in how they tried, but they put a piece of plywood against it and put some gas or whatever, flammable liquid on it, laid it up against the wall, and then set that on fire, as if that's going to burn down a stucco stone whatever building. What a bunch of idiots. Anyway, a peaceful protester in Portland was shot in the head by one of Donald Trump's secret police. They're federal agents in the federal fucking building. Donald Trump's secret police. Shut the fuck up. Now Trump and Chad Wolf are weaponizing the DHS as their own occupying army to provoke violence on the street of my hometown because they think it plays well with right-wing media. Wyden says, I got an idea. How about you call the mayor and have him call the police and tell the police to take care of this bullshit. Thank you, Rod Line, for the new top donor of the day, even though Dick Ramdinis donated $5.56. But you know what's the top donor that doesn't have a special alert of the day? Have you heard the theory that people being arrested out of the blue is actually feds extracting undercover agents? Have you heard the theory that the people being arrested out of the blue is actually feds extracting undercover? No, I have not heard that theory. That would be fascinating, though, wouldn't it? Because they are finding who the leaders of these groups are. That that would be interesting. Are we frozen? Is the stream frozen? What's the deal? Okay. Can you still hear me, though? That's what I'm wondering. What the hell is going on? Well, I'm going to refresh. Oh, it's all moving now. Well, it's kind of, oh my God, what the hell is going on? I'm going to have to, oh God, one of these days. One of these days, Alice. One of these days. Anyway, this bullshit, I swear. I swear, like the moon and the stars in the sky, I'll be there, I'll be there. Who remembers that song? That was a great song. And you know what's funny is that song was a hit by two different groups at the same time. You know what I mean? That's amazing that a single song is so good that two different groups singing the exact same song charted at the same time. It's amazing. All right, moving on. Let's go into the actual trends of the day. Let's see here. We've got Portland's trending. That's because of Trump being accused of deploying secret police. Let's click the tab, see if there's any interesting comments here. As soon as it pops up. I kind of like that groove in the background. All right. Molly Jong Fast. Oh, yes. The whatever you call All for One. And who was the other group that sang it, though? There's a country group that sang the same song, and they both... Who are you talking about? Boomer? I resemble that remark. All for One was one of them. There's a country group that also sang it, too. Molly Jong Fast. TDS sufferer extraordinaire, because no dystopia is complete without a terrifying secret police force. It was like being preyed upon. Federal officers in unmarked vans detaining people. He still doesn't know who arrested him or whether what happened to him legally qualifies as an arrest. Well, that's interesting. Someone here says we need to clarify about what's going on in Portland. Unlike DC, the federal government doesn't run law enforcement in the state for its cities. Americans, even ones who violate the law, can't be disappeared. We're entitled to answers about what's happening in Portland and why. Oregon Public Broadcasting confirms tweets today that federal officers in camouflage but no agency identification or badges driving unmarked non-governmental rental cars are grabbing protesters off the street in Portland and not talking with local authorities. Okay, that's what this says. So they're they're working this overtime. That's an interesting theory, Rod Line, now that I go back to this. Do you think they're extracting their own people? Failed states of America under Trump and the Republicans. Burn them all out, everyone. You know what's funny? What's hilarious about that? Do you think that failed state, Portland, in Oregon, with the shitty mayor and everyone there is all Democrats in full control. What failed state is that? Of course, Joe Walsh, never Trumper, Lincoln Project dickhead. I'm a conservative because I fear government overreach. I fear abuse of government power, especially when it comes from the federal government. What's happening here in Portland should scare all of us. We must demand answers. Okay, let's find out what's happening. I'm fully. I'd love to know what's happening in Portland. I'd love to know. Let's see what the sound of this is. Let's see here. Let's listen to this.
What are you doing? Use your words. What are you doing? Use your words. What are you doing? Use your words. What is going on? Who are you? NLG will get you out. What's your name? Tell us your name.
What's your name?
Okay, you're fine. We'll get you out.
Bro, what?
We got you, friend.
We got you.
Oh, fuck.
NLG.
You just violated their rights.
You know what's hilarious? Rod Line.
You just violated their rights.
That's an interesting theory. Now that I listen to your theory and I go, he was sure cooperative, wasn't he? He just raised his hand, walked backwards. They put his hands behind his back. He cooperated so. Oh my gosh. They didn't have their guns up. Oh, thank you, Gamer Valine. New top super chat of the day with $9.99, who says, fun fact, if you strip the paint off the White House, there are burn marks from where the British tried to burn it in the War of 1812. Natural stones suited for building should not burn. Well, there you go. That is true. Thank you, Gamer Fleet, for the $9.99. Kind of sounds like Herman Cain. I got a $9.99 plan. Thank you, my dear. I appreciate it. New top super chat of the day is $9.99 for those playing. All right. Okay, that's very interesting. And no, it's funny because it's the Never Trumpers are really chirping up here. Rick Wilson, who got just destroyed the other day on a interview. But anyway, I'm super excited to hear the conservative and libertarian Trump media fluffers defend this. But Antifa is not an excuse for federal police without identification to sweep people off the streets. Well, are they? How many people are taken off the street? Ian Miles Chung, Portland PD, not DHS or U.S. Marshals, tackle an Antifa who rides a bike through a prohibited area after being repeatedly warned to disperse. Okay, that's the Portland police doing that. Now, they're saying, remember, the actions in Portland taken by fascist Trump are only possible because a large percent of the country doesn't believe anything they see in the media anymore. Look, none of these agents they're showing local police doing this shit, you dumb fucks. Day 50. Okay, that's Sean Hannity. He's just as wrong on the other side. I that guy went so easily. Is that a setup? Is that just some bullshit? This requires a full 5-day rule. A complete 5-day rule. All right, let's get back into the trends so I don't run out of time here. Number 2, World Emoji Day. Okay, people, it's World Emoji Day. Go for it in the chat. It's World Emoji Day. So fuck it. Trending number 3, Toronto is in Canada. Why is Toronto is in Canada? Because we know Toronto's in Canada. Raise your hand if you know that Toronto is in Canada and not the United States. Will Joe Biden do more to protect religious liberty than Donald Trump? Not a prayer. City of Toronto bans Catholic Church from administering Holy Communion. Okay, look. When Laura Ingress said that, now we realize Toronto is in Canada. But it's an example of how places try to ban things. Is she saying that Toronto is in the United States when she says that, or she's just giving an example? When you hear about a city, for example, will Joe Biden do more to protect religious liberty than Donald Trump? Not a prayer. So, for example, if London banned churches from doing something, you're still talking about a government repressing religious liberty, right? So I doubt if that's okay. Whatever. So. Yeah, we know Toronto's in Canada, you dumb ass. All right, so, but people are giving her shit for that. Okay, yes, we know Toronto's in Canada. Although, isn't there a Toronto in the United States? Isn't there a city named Toronto? Let's look that up. Toronto. Just Toronto. Is there a Toronto in the United States? I think there is. I can't remember where it is, though. Okay, that's the Canadian Toronto. How about, let's see, Toronto, USA. Let's see if that. Toronto City, USA. Yes, Toronto, Ohio. There is a Toronto, Ohio. I knew there was a Toronto in the United States. That would be Toronto, Ohio. So there you go. See, I'm smarter than I look. All right, let's move on. So people giving Laura Ingraham shit about Toronto being in Canada. I'm pretty sure we understood I understood what she was saying there. Friday morning we'll skip Tuscan leather, or Tuscan leather, excuse me. Tuscan leather is trending, not Tucson. Don't get excited, Gamer Valine. Tuscan leather, it's something about rap. I'm going to skip that one. Celebrities, Tamar. Who is Tamar? Is Tamar dropping new music? Oh, Tamar Braxton was rushed to the hospital. That's Tony Braxton's sister. And Tamar Braxton was rushed to the hospital after a suicide attempt. Oh my God. That's really a bummer. After a possible overdose. U.S. TV star Tamar Braxton was hospitalized after a possible overdose. Tamar Braxton has been rushed to the hospital after being found responsive following a possible overdose. The 43-year-old, who stars in American reality series Braxton Family Values, was staying at probably her sister's house or something. Well, that's too bad. I hope she is well. So a lot of people talking about that. Don't know much about her other than that she's related to Tony Braxton, the singer. Gestapo is trending. Oh, isn't that cute? People calling the secret police in Portland that they fucking probably made up. The Gestapo. Trump's secret Gestapo. Beating peaceful protesters. Really? In Portland? Give it a 3. Like I said, this one needs a 5-day rule. Moving on. National Tattoo Day. Hey, if you got a tattoo, raise your hand. I do not have any tattoos. Lady Boomer does have 3, though. One on her foot that has her kids' names, and she has 2 fleur-de-lis that she got when we were in New Orleans. Friday Feeling will skip. CT Vivian. Who is CT Vivian? I have no idea. So we're going to be hearing about Trump's Gestapo all day. The Reverend C.T. Vivian, a civil rights veteran who worked alongside the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. and later led the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, has died at age 95. His civil rights work stretched back more than 6 decades. Okay, today is the day that I'm going to learn more about C.T. Vivian. I don't know much about him, but I would like to. I'd like to learn about him. We'll do the article here. We'll just put an article in the. Throw an article in the chat about CT Vivian. Come on, today. There we go. If you'd like to learn more about CT Vivian, there's the link in the chat to the AP article. All right. Rest in peace to CT Vivian. Moving on. Let's go back one more. Michael Thomas and Julio Jones are trending in the NFL. What did Michael Thomas do? Saints wide receiver Michael Thomas joins the Chiefs. Quarterback Patrick Mahomes, Panthers running back Christian McCaffrey, Rams defensive tackle Aaron Donald, and Patriots cornerback Stephon Gilmore as members of this year's Madden 99 club. Okay, so they put a bunch of the people they put as 99 strength on Madden. That's pretty cool. Patrick Mahomes, the new highest paid player of all time. Greece is trending. Greece offers British tourists a wary welcome back. Fears of coronavirus influx temper enthusiasm over return of our friends from the UK. Mercedes Schlapp. I don't know who that is. Let's see. Mercedes Schlapp, a Biden economy would be incredibly destructive. That's someone talking on the Sarah Carter show. She's trending, though. She's a senior advisor to the Trump-Pence campaign. Poppy Harlow, CNN presses Mercedes Schlapp, senior advisor for the 2020 campaign, on the administration's response to the coronavirus pandemic. That's probably why she's trending. Mercedes Schlapp on CNN saying she wants to talk about Joe Biden's handling of the coronavirus. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Poppy Harlow, Donald Trump is the president. Okay, that's a good answer. She shouldn't... Look, regardless of what you think about Trump and Biden, Biden doesn't have any power when it comes to handling the coronavirus crisis. All he can do is talk. But honestly, it's a virus, so even the president, once it was here, there's not a whole lot the president could do, even though they're blaming him or expecting him to do things, unless people want him to be the fascist dictator that they claim that he is. And it's strange how they want him to be the dictator when it comes to this, but which wouldn't have done a whole lot versus what was happening. I think I will fault Trump in the fact that he was too optimistic in the beginning. He listened to the words of his advisors and pulled out the good, but never seemed to pull out the bad or the warnings that needed to be made. Now, would have it helped? Doubt it. Okay. Now, were we able to flatten the curve in some places? Yes. And we're starting to see the top of that flattened curve now. We saw were places where they didn't flatten the curve. New York, New Jersey, Michigan, Connecticut. Okay. They had their big wave all at once. And now their curve is down here. And the flattened curve is reaching its peak. Now, the reason people in the news can't see that is because they don't want to see that. I don't think you'll ever see. Well, okay, I shouldn't make predictions on this because I don't know. I'm not a scientist. My gut feeling is you're never going to see the number of deaths that you saw per capita in New York and New Jersey anywhere else in this country. They'll rise. They'll be a full, that flattened curve will go out there. But I think there's going to be things to mitigate this issue before that happens. New York, New Jersey, Michigan, Connecticut, Massachusetts all failed to flatten the curve in the beginning. So that's my thing. Anyway, they were too optimistic about the virus in the beginning. But again, it's something that we're not, if you think you can actually control it, I don't know. They say that some of these countries did. No, some of these countries got lucky. All right, moving on. Taki is trending. Why is, I don't know, Taki. Is Taki, that's a game thing. I'm going to skip the game stuff. Janae Aiko's deluxe edition of Chilombo's here. She's a singer. I'm going to skip that. Madigan information and statement of fact filed in federal court Friday to end federal criminal investigations into a year-long what? What is this? Madigan is trending. It's a court case. Let's see. Read court documents from the ComEd criminal charges that implicate Michael Madigan. I don't know anything about this case. ComEd will pay $200 million to end a federal criminal investigation into the year-long bribery scheme the U.S. Attorney announced on Friday. Okay, it's a bribery case that I don't know anything about. We'll skip that for now, but people are talking about it. Maybe I'll inform myself and talk about it later. Graffiti is trending. Oh, yay. Something... what? Why is graffiti trending? I mean, there's graffiti everywhere. At least when Judgment Day comes, you can say you were just following orders and 140,000 Americans died of graffiti. Okay. So these guys are pissed off that the Homeland Security director was in Portland to see all the graffiti on the federal buildings there. I mean, if you're seeing this, it's not a small amount. And it's funny because Ted Wheeler himself asked the federal government to not, we don't need any help, but why don't you get the graffiti off your buildings, as if they put it there themselves. The valiant men and women have defended our institutions of justice against violent anarchists for 48 straight days. We will prevail. Interesting. And he just said, here's what I saw yesterday in Portland. And so people are bitching. I'm a lifelong Portlander, and I'm not happy about the mess either, but you're disappearing our citizens into unmarked vans. Why not just put a black bag over their heads? I'm still there. I'm still on X to doubt. I think, Rod, you might have a point there. All right. Anything else? Eric Prince is trending. Chad Wolf, that's the secret police thing. I will skip that. Why is Eric Prince trending? I don't even want to know. Okay, that says... What? Okay, they're trying to say that these so-called secret police are having to do something with Eric Prince. Who knows? All right. I'm going to finish that out today. That's it for today. All right. Anything I missed in the chat? Let's see here. Connecticut. Oh, nice. At least you have a guy. Mine was done. All punk rock at home by a newbie back when I was around 18, 19 years old. It was supposed to be a rosebud. I don't know what that means. I want my money back. I was told 2 million dead. Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's not nearly as bad as the predictions, but you know what? We got all our predictions from that, the prediction models of that dude in London who has been so wrong on so many things. Oh, hi, Becca. I didn't even see you here. And Richo, too. I guess I haven't been paying attention. K-pop trending is Vimin and Yeotan. Yeotan is the dog of Kim Taehyung's from BTS, whose nickname is V. The pictures are suspected to be taken by Park Jimin, also of BTS. Well, thank you to Patrice Ripley, our local K-pop aficionado, for that update, because I did not know what that meant. Also, a couple quick thank yous. Thank you. Oh! Did you buy that? What is that? Gamer Valine, did you get a new truck? I'm just gonna show you this picture of Gamer Valine's truck if it'll ever pop up. Oh no, that's the dog who listens to me in the car. Here's the pup that Gamer Valine was talking about that for some reason likes the sound of my voice. Is that what it is, Gamer Valine? The dog likes the sound of my voice? That is awesome. Oh, you're talking about your awful tattoo. Okay, I didn't know what the hell you were talking about. K-pop is cancer. Check your logic. Please, Becca Farrell. Patrice, please plug your ears. Or at least don't look at what Check Your Logic said, because I know you like the K-pop kids. So that's the pup that likes the sound of my voice, right? That's your guy's truck. Nice Raptor though. I've got the same door set up, but I don't have the Raptor package. I have the I don't even remember. It has a lot of chrome. Let's just put it that way on my truck. Not so much off-road suspension, it's whatnot. Anyway, so that's it for today on the Morning Night Live. Do me a favor. Oh, here's what I gotta do. I have to put a link to my video. Even though a lot of you saw the rant, I enhanced it with some extra video, and so if you would be so kind to share it out, I'm going to put that in the chat as soon as this pops up here. And other than that, I'm here Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, 1500 GMT for my friends around the world. And if you'd be so kind, before you leave, before you walk out the door, before you hit the hay, before you go back to work, I would be so happy if you would be so kind as to share this stream out. Please. Wait a minute. Now here's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to do this and talk at the same time. Let's pause this. Okay, because you want to hear my theme music. Here's my video from yesterday. If you would share this video out, maybe instead of the stream, that would be fantastic. Right click this, open it in a new window, and share the video from yesterday. I added some extra video to it, some enhancements, my little rant on Chris Cuomo. Also, please, if you would be so kind, hit the like button on the way out, share button, and if you want to make donations or super chats to this station, to this channel, to this show to help keep it going. I'm ordering some new sound equipment this weekend so I can stop peaking and have a little more control of what I sound like. Even though I like this mic, it's been done great for me, but I do want to get a little bit more professional setup that makes it more consistent on the sound. So I'm ordering that this weekend. Thanks to you guys who've been so generous to do the super chat thing. Also, I've paid a couple bills here and there with the super chat, so that always helps. But that's it for today, people. I hope you have a great weekend. I don't know if you have any plans. My plans are just to probably chill and clean up the little bit of last vestige out of the pool that's in there, and I don't know what I'm going to do this weekend. Maybe we'll grill. Who knows? This is one of the... never mind. I just remembered what we're doing. We're digging out a space for a patio. We're building a new patio in our backyard. So I will be... I will have shovel in hand, shoveling rocks and dirt this weekend. Yay. Thanks, Lady Boomer. Anyway, there's the video in the chat. Please share that out. I gotta go. My name's PDawg Knight, and I'm out of here. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye. Hey, this is PDawg Knight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawg Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterward so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through the Streamlabs link, which is also in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawg Knight, and I'm out of here.